Cristiano Ronaldo had walked off the field that day with a grin, unaware that it would be the last time he'd share a pitch with someone who had become more than just a teammate. Only a few weeks earlier, he and Diogo Jota stood arm in arm, full of pride after Portugal's dramatic victory against Spain in the Nations League final. It was a beautiful moment full of unity, success, and the kind of bond only teammates understand. They were on top of the world, and no one could have imagined that this moment of triumph would be the last they'd ever share together. To Ronaldo, the story seemed to be continuing, a new chapter of brotherhood and shared legacy. But fate doesn't wait for closure. It can be abrupt, cold, and heartbreakingly permanent. Diogo Jota, at just 28, seemed to have it all. His football career at Liverpool was booming. He had just married the love of his life, Ruth Cardoso, and their 3 kids were part of a growing, happy home. Their wedding had only just taken place, a small, intimate celebration brimming with joy. Every photo from that day showed them smiling with their children, surrounded by laughter, toasts, and dreams of a long future. Jota looked like a man at peace, not only because of what he had achieved on the field, but also for what he had built off it. Just days earlier, he had returned from another successful outing with Portugal. In England, Liverpool had just clinched another victory with Jota contributing like always. Everything felt aligned. His family life, his form, his friendship was all syncing perfectly. He wasn't just playing football. He was living his best life, balanced, strong, and centered. Following his wedding, Jota decided to take a brief trip to Spain with his younger brother, Andre Silva. Andre, not as globally known, played for Penafiel, a modest Portuguese club. They had always been close, and despite Diego's fame, he never let go of his roots. This trip wasn't about glamour. It was a simple getaway between brothers, reminiscing, relaxing, and sharing space outside. The noise of the sport. Just 2 siblings driving through Spain, laughing, dreaming, catching up on lost time. On a quiet stretch of road after midnight, their yellow Lamborghinis spun out of control. According to witnesses, they were attempting to overtake another car when something sudden and tragic happened. The vehicle skidded, then caught fire. Emergency teams arrived quickly, but there was nothing they could do. Both brothers had perished. No one could comprehend it. Just days ago, Diogo had been celebrating his wedding, his kids clinging to his legs, his arms wrapped around his bride. He had looked more alive than ever. Now he was gone. Conversations quickly turned from joy to disbelief. People refused to accept it. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet, it was a stillness that blanketed everything, like the world had paused. Unsure how to go on, Cristiano Ronaldo's reaction came swiftly, and the raw pain in his words struck everyone. "It doesn't make sense," he wrote. "Just now we were together in the national team. Just now you got married." He didn't sound like the composed global icon. Sounded like a man who had just lost someone irreplaceable. It wasn't a teammate he was grieving. It was a younger brother. News outlets across Portugal and the world couldn't keep up with the heartbreak. Fans woke up to headlines they couldn't accept. The idea that Diogo and Andre were both gone felt impossible. Then came Liverpool's statement, short, heavy, and devastating. They confirmed the loss, offered condolences, and asked for space for the grieving family. That was it. No grand tribute, just the unbearable truth. The crash happened near Seville, just after midnight. Police confirmed the Lamborghini had been speeding. Witnesses claimed it tried to pass another car when it lost control and ignited. When first responders arrived, the fire had already consumed the car. The bodies were unrecognizable. Identification took time. Each piece of news felt like reopening the wound. The biggest mystery was who had been driving. Both men were in the front. No one knew if Jota or Andre had taken the wheel. Theories ran wild. Some said it was a blown tire. Others wondered if the road surface played a role. Had they been tired? Was it just a terrible accident? There were no answers. Only more questions. Social media was flooded with tributes. Fans posted wedding photos with candle emojis. Videos of Diego's goals were reshared in silence. His wide smile now seemed trapped in the past, frozen in happier times. Everyone wanted it to be a mistake, a cruel rumor. But it wasn single quotes too. The pain deepened when people remembered just how recent his wedding had been. How only days ago he and Ruth had said forever in front of their kids. Now forever had lasted just a few sunrises. Ruth had become a widow less than a week into married life. Ronaldo's second message was even more heartfelt. He extended strength to the family, especially Ruth and the children. "I know you'll always be with them," he wrote. Coming from someone known for his strength, the vulnerability was unmistakable. He wasn't a superstar in mourning, he was a heartbroken friend. Athletes from across the sports world added their voices. LeBron James called the news unreal. Liverpool players changed their profile pictures to black. Portugal's Football Association declared a day of mourning. Across stadiums in Europe, matches began with moments of silence. Sports channels went quiet as commentators struggled to speak. It wasn't just a career loss. Tate was a life, a soul, a presence that touched many. As police investigated, clues began surfacing. Surveillance footage from a toll booth showed the Lamborghini speeding shortly before the crash. Investigators speculated on tire failure, possibly while overtaking another car. A witness said the car swerved sharply before vanishing into darkness and fire. The driver of the SUV later confirmed there was no contact, but he too was rattled. With no vehicle black box. The final seconds remained a mystery. Some fans speculated about Jota's love for fast cars. Others insisted he was always careful. Still, the absence of a clear answer gnawed at everyone's family, especially Ruth, stayed silent. No funeral details were released. The grief was too raw. In a chilling twist, an interview resurfaced where Jota had joked about spending more time with family now that the season was over, said Andre had something planned for them. Hearing that now felt like a warning. No, one could have known to heed. There were even whispers that Andre might have been driving. Some insiders suggested Jota had been tired and let him take the wheel. But no one really knew. Then came the voice message. Hours before the crash, Diego had sent a cheerful recording to an old friend. He laughed, talked about the wedding, his kids, and said they were headed on one last little adventure. His final words: "Tell everyone I'll see them soon." They became haunting, heartbreaking, unforgettable. There were also plans revealed: a surprise vacation for Ruth and the kids. Jota had booked a beach house, arranged gifts for his children, and wanted to celebrate both their wedding and the off-season. These were small gestures, but they told the real story of a man who deeply loved his family. Fans responded in the most human way. They posted photos of their children lighting candles next to toy footballs. Letters written in crayon from kids said things like, "Thank you for showing me how to dream." UEFA released a memorial video. Liverpool lit up the stadium in red with Jota's numbers shining in the dark. Talks began about naming training facilities after him, but those closest to him remained shattered. Ruth had withdrawn completely. Friends said she barely spoke, sometimes sat with a letter in her hand addressed to Diego but couldn't read it out loud. Their children had been taken in by family. The funeral was private. Ronaldo showed up alone. No entourage. He stood at the coffin in stillness, one hand resting gently, his eyes down. A single photo of that moment would later move millions. No words could do what that image did. 2 weeks after the crash, quietly passed to the family, and then leaked. The truth hit hard. Diego had been driving. The tire did blow out. The road conditions and speed combined created a situation no one could have escaped. It wasn't reckless. It was just fast, just enough to take away any chance of control. When the tire gave way, There were no drugs, no racing, no wild behavior. Just a footballer taking a rare break with his brother. And the worst happening in an instant. Knowing he was driving didn't bring comfort. For Root, it was another layer of pain. No one blamed him. But the truth has its own weight. Ronaldo didn't speak again. He returned to training, but people noticed a difference. He smiled less. He carried something invisible, but heavy. When asked how he was coping, his reply was simple. Some losses changed the game. This one changed my news. And my news one changed my news. Like what? My news one. Like what? Like what? Get this. Like, look at this. And we all know. I've been exploring that. And we all know I've been exploring that path. When I said as who I was coping, which we don't win with save Ks. So we said, I kaviv, we have to come ride with Sev to we, come you with Sev 10 mig 9 we with wise con with Sev, can you with Sev we a kagwe Sev to we sa k to we sit quit ik with them we can with heart. Youth leagues in Portugal began Jota days, wearing his name and playing in silence for the first 5 minutes. Liverpool created a scholarship in his name. Rival fans gathered to sing his name in the 28th minute of every match. But the most touching tribute came from his son. At a family memorial, holding a ball, the child whispered, I'm going to be like Daddy. And in that one sentence, the legacy lived on. Because Diogo Jota wasn't just a footballer. He was a man who loved fully, gave his all, and made people believe, not just in the game, but in the good it can bring. His story didn't end in that car. It lives in every heart he touched, every young dreamer he inspired, and in the love he left behind.